Jacob, fantastic. Oh, can I compliment you on your marvellous abode? And we will be seeing a lot more of this tonight, won't we?
Well, I'll be doing my programme from Somerset this week, and this is really important because one of the great things about GB News is we're not one of those London-centric media outfits. We recognise that there are lots of viewers outside London, and the interests of people outside London are much more varied than the metropolitan elite. So I'm really pleased to be putting this into practice by broadcasting from home.
Absolutely, I look forward to it, and I am hoping, because we're going to have you back on, whether or not you know it yet, Jacob, at around 5:30 as well. So I am hoping, I'm wondering if we might be able to get a sneak peek of inside your property then. Could we do a little bit of a walk and tour, do you think, at 5:30?
Well, it's really up to the professional experts as whether we can do a walk and tour. I don't know. I'm not the cameraman, so you'll have to ask him whether he can do it. One of the things about rural areas is that signal isn't particularly mobile, so we're plugged in to true speed at the moment, and that gives us a strong signal. If we try and rely on mobile signal, it may be a little bit dodgy.
We'll give it a go. Look, we'll give it a go. But look, can I ask you a bit about what is in the news today? We've had the Bibby Stockholm arrivals. We've also had this talk of Ascension Island being used as some kind of processing centre. Now, a senior source has told GB News that that is pie in the sky and it is unworkable. However, it is an incredibly popular potential policy with our viewers. Would you condone sending illegal migrants for processing on Ascension Island?
Oh, look, the theory is great, but your senior source is right. I was involved in some of the discussions looking at this whilst I was a member of the government, and unfortunately it would cost at least £1 million per person you sent there to do it. Why is this? Well, the Ascension Islands is used as a US military base, but because there's nobody else there, there's no fencing or anything, it's just a base. So you would have to put up fencing, but you don't have any builders on Ascension Island. So first of all, you've got to send out porter cabin residences for your builders. Then you've got to go to builders who have to live there whilst they're doing the building. Then you have to build the premises for the migrants to live in. Then you've got to persuade people that they want to go and live on the Ascension Island for long periods to run the centre. And the costs just mount up and up and up and up. And that's why, when I was involved in the discussions, it was just thought to be impossibly expensive to do.
No, OK, I mean, that does make sense. Some people might say, well, you know, it's a price worth paying, given what we're paying at the moment, if it is a deterrent and therefore it stops the boats as well. But can I ask you a bit about the Labour Party, Jacob? Because it just seems to me as though they're copying a lot of your policies at the moment. I mean, despite saying that they're going to be against new oil and gas, they'd be happy if you did it. They wouldn't overturn that. They're taking money from Just Stop Oil. Now they're condemning Just Stop Oil's actions. They said that they didn't like the idea of housing illegal immigrants on barges, but now they're going to do it themselves as well. What's going on?
Well, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and the Labour Party has worked out what Tony Blair worked out. That is to say that the Labour Party is only electable if it carries out soft Tory policies. That is to say, policies that the Tory party would want to carry out, but less effectively. And if you do it as a sort of mini-me version of the Tories, you may be able to win elections, because there's no majority in the United Kingdom for red in tooth and claw socialism. And Keir Starmer has quite intelligently worked this out, and as you rightly say, he's now sympathetic to oil and gas, doesn't like Just Stop Oil, and suddenly barges are the latest rage.
They are indeed. I mean, I suppose this potentially could be a concern for the Conservative Party, though. I mean, Labour also making some serious noises about actually proposing genuine change to the NHS that, shock horror, might involve elements of the private sector. So is it becoming more and more difficult for you to draw a line in the sand between yourselves and the Labour Party? And with respect, Jacob, as well, some people will be saying, well, it's not really been working so far with the Conservatives when it comes to things like illegal immigration, so why not let Labour have a go?
Well, because the reason it hasn't been working with illegal migration is because of what Labour left behind in terms of the European Convention on Human Rights being brought into UK law, the power that's given to judges to block what Parliament passes, which is a really strange way of running your democracy. If we had the powers that we had prior to 1997, we'd have got on with it ages ago. So this is still the legacy of the constitutional changes made by the Labour Party. That's why you can't rely on them in government to do things properly. But let's just wait and see if Labour suddenly becomes an advocate of abolishing inheritance tax, and then we'll know they've really decided to steal the Tories' clothes.
Absolutely. Look, Jacob, thank you very, very much for not only appearing on the show and appearing later, but also inviting us all into your beautiful home. And I look forward to seeing a little bit of that later on. It's the one at 8 o'clock, isn't it? 8 p.m. tonight, yes?
8 o'clock, yes. Be there or be square, I think, is the trendy thing to say.